Good evening. We are going to read a book together called The American Covenant, The Untold Story by Marshall Foster. And foreword is by Kirk Cameron, for those older people like myself who remember him from Growing Pains. And then when he became a Christian, he went all out, and so he's minus seeing him in some Christmas stuff. He was in the first three of the Left Behind movies. He has a series you can sometimes catch on YouTube and sometimes Facebook and other things called The American Campfire Revival. So we're going to read this book together, and today we're just going to read the foreword so we can get a gist of what's going on here. Most history books I read as a kid specialized in long, boring sentences and loads of dates, destinations, and dead guys. Marshall Foster changed all that. He made me realize that I've been reading history through the wrong set of glasses. History is truly his story of forming the cosmos, of the spark of the miracle of life, a war in the heavens, a monstrous betrayal resulting in generational disaster, true global climate change, a worldwide rescue mission, the forming of the nations, the beginning of religious and civil government, wars and famines, tyranny and miracles, fulfilled prophecies, the war to end all wars, and the spread of freedom across the earth. I met Marshall in LAX airport after reading another one of his excellent books, The Battle for the 21st Century. To be honest, I was wrestling with whether or not to invoke a permanent surgical solution to having too many kids. We had 6 wonderful children already. Marshall's storytelling about God giving generational blessings and the gift of children to the faithful stopped me in my tracks and caused me to question my motives for turning off the fruitful faucet. We agreed to talk further. Morning coffees led to afternoon meals, discussing everything from the kids to communism, pyramids to Plato, and the Apostle Paul to the Pilgrims. I have never heard history told from what Marshall called the providential perspective. That is, explaining and understanding the stories of the past, including their heroes and villains, main and supporting characters, exciting plots, and surprise endings, as an unfolding narrative told by God, demonstrating his power, character, and faithfulness to his people. And I don't mean just the stories in the Bible. I'm also talking about Chinese history, African history, European history, American history, and all the history of the world, all demonstrating God's goodness and the power of the gospel to transform hearts, homes, and communities and nations. Now that's not how I was taught to read history in 8th grade civics. If Marshall Foster had been my history teacher in high school, I wouldn't have had so many notes sent home from the principal asking my mom why I was always falling asleep in class. In 2011, Marshall and I made a documentary movie together called Monumental, In Search of America's National Treasure. In it, we retraced the escape route of the Pilgrims from England to Holland to the New World to learn about the people, the places, and the principles that created the greatest nation the world has ever known. The American Covenant, The Untold Story, had become the study guide for millions of people gathering virtually around the campfire in my backyard as part of the American Campfire Revival, a 100-day plan. Marshall Foster served as our faithful Gandalf, whose knowledge and wisdom led us as the fellowship of the faithful through the land of America, explaining its miraculous beginnings, revealing life-giving secrets, forgotten covenants, and a roadmap for defeating darkness, and stirring up our passion to see liberty, not only for the land of the free and home of the brave, but for every nation on earth. My prayer is that this book will become a source of light and life to you and your family, as it has been for me and mine, and that as a result, the fires of revival will so burn within our hearts that the eyes of the whole world will be upon us and say, may God do for us in our nation as he has done again in America. Now this was just a foreword. We will continue and we will learn the true history of our nation and the other nations. I want to hear your comments and see what you all think as we go along. And as I always say, God bless.